Hello, Mr. Jonas. 3A has many questions for you. And here they are.
Hello, my name is Sammy. I have a question for you. How do you know which editors to trust?
Good morning, Miss LaFay, and wonderful class of 3A. I am honored to speak to you this morning about something I feel very strongly about. I've read through your questions, fantastic questions, and I think we'll start with one by Sammy about how I choose editors. Asking someone to read something you've written can be a very challenging thing, a very personal thing, and so I choose people who are really experts in a variety of things, and my intent is always to have them help me make the book as good as it possibly can be. This book is intended for middle school and high school students, so I have at least 3 middle school teachers who are experts in young adult literature. I have a children's librarian, a public librarian back home in the States. She's been a librarian for 20 years and read literally thousands of books. I have a lady who is an executive producer with an Arabic television station, because the book has a lot to do with Saudi Arabia and politics and history and social customs, and I need to get those things right. It has to be extremely accurate. And then I have other readers who read just for things like grammar and punctuation and spelling. And I have some content readers to make sure it's a good story and the story holds together, that if something happens in the beginning of the book and it makes sense throughout the book, it has to somehow make sense by the time the book is finished. There's all kinds of things that when you're looking at a book that's 74,000 words, that have to be done really well. So I use a wide variety of people that are experts, that love young adult literature, and that's what my book is intended. The audience that the book is looking for are young adults, middle school and high school. So I hope that answers that question for you, Sammy. And one more thing I forgot, Sammy. I always ask at least 2 students that I know to read the book as well, and these are usually students who are the intended audience, and I always get extremely honest reactions from students, and that's always what I'm looking for. And one more thing I forgot to say, you should know that every single book that you see, every book in the library, has gone through the exact process that my books go through. If you look in the acknowledgments page, almost every author has a group of people they thank, and these group of people read the book long before a copy editor or proofing editor or content editor ever sees it at a professional publishing house. So there, that's now the end of that question.
Hola, my name is Ethan, and I just want to ask you what input means.
Well, hola, young man. I could barely pull out your name. I'm not sure I heard it, but I did hear the question. The question is about what input means. Input is suggestions and contributions. These are the things I'm looking for. I'm looking for input. I'm looking for information from other editors to help me make my book better. The word in means to go in. Input is just all the different things that they can add and suggest to help make the book better. I hope that answers the question.
My name is Gavin, and I have a question. What were the common mistakes you made when you were writing?
Great question, Gavin. I think one of the biggest mistakes I make is sometimes I get in too much of a hurry because the story is so hot in my mind. I just want to write it all down, which is not a bad thing, you know. I mean, I get as much out there as possible, and then, of course, I go back to and revisit it and re-edit all the time. But I find myself, after writing a number of books, slowing down, because one of the biggest mistakes is to tell instead of to show. What I mean is, if I say, the boy went out into the bad weather, really boring, really dull. If I show more, that gives the reader a much better idea of what's going on. The boy stepped out into the weather. The wind was slashing and the rain was coming down sideways, and he could feel the water dripping down his back. It was covering his glasses. He could barely see. He was getting cold because all the things were making him slip and slide, and all of a sudden, a simple sentence, I'm doing a lot more than just telling you what's happening. I'm kind of showing him, giving you the feeling of what the boy was actually going through. And that's probably one of the most common mistakes all writers make, to tell you the truth. And
Hello, my name is Matthew, and I have a question for you. What got you into becoming an author?
again, apologies. I heard the question, but this handsome young man who's sitting in front of your a Brent poster, I couldn't pick up his name, but I think the question was, what got me into becoming an author? I've been an author all my life. I can't ever remember a time, even since I was your age, where I wasn't writing something, whether I was keeping a journal or making notes about something. All through high school and all through college, I wrote short stories. I started sending in stories for publication to a lot of magazines. As soon as I became a children's librarian, that directed my focus toward writing books for kids. So, and even now, when I go anywhere, I always have a notebook with me because I'm always jotting down ideas. I've written all kinds of things. I've written songs, I've written poetry, depends on where I've been in life, but to tell you the truth, I can't ever remember not writing. It's just a part of who I am. It's kind of my life, and actually in about 82 days, after many, many years of working, I'm retiring, so I'll be writing even more, so stay tuned. Maybe I'll write a book for younger kids. So good question.
Hi, my name is Kia, and I have a question. Why did you title your book Imposter?
Hi, Tia. Great question. A lot of times I'll start a book and I'll assign a temporary title, a working title, most authors call it, with the idea that when I'm further into the book or when I'm done with the book, I will then know for sure what I want to title the book. In this case, I was really, really lucky because I knew it was going to be Imposter from the start, because the book is about a boy who pretends to be someone who he is not. The book teaches, well, the kid learns a valuable lesson because unfortunately, with the ease that we can now get out into the world using social media, YouTube, Facebook, Tumblr, all those different kind of things, you can find an audience way beyond what we've ever been able to before. And so the power of all this social media is something that we have to pay very close attention to. And the boy doesn't. He doesn't really understand the power that he has when he truly pretends to be someone he's not, and he doesn't take into account all the consequences that follow him because of his lack of attention to this. So he is truly pretending to be something that he's not, and it gets him into really big trouble. So I was really fascinated with the idea that a person could reach so far out, and how important it is to pay attention to the things we say and the way we use the internet.
My name is Josephine, and I have a question. How did you come up with the title?
Again, humble apologies. I didn't catch the name of this lovely young lady, but I think the question was the same one as Tia asked about how I came up with the title. So I hope she is satisfied with the answer I gave to that one. And, well, just move on to the next one now.
My name is Steffi, and I have a question. Why did you choose the setting of Saudi Arabia?
Well, I think I heard the name Guppy, good-looking guy with short hair, and the question was, why did I choose the setting of Saudi Arabia? Well, you know, I'm very, very lucky to have worked at 6 schools on 4 continents, and the things that I've run into, the students, the schools, and the country have all offered me amazing things to write about. The setting, the politics of a country, traveling within this country. I've learned an awful lot of things. And so I guess you could say that I have all the stuff to inspire me to write about. So in living in Saudi Arabia, again, that holds true. And one of the other things I love to write about are you guys, about kids that go to these international schools. I love to see the world through their eyes. And Saudi Arabia, for many people, is a very difficult place to live. And it may be where you're going to school. And, most of the time, your moms and dads, they don't say, hey, how'd you like to move to the Philippines this next year? Or how'd you like to move to Saudi Arabia? So I love to see the world through the eyes of these kids. And Saudi Arabia offered me a fascinating place from which to do that. Good question.
Hi, my name is Devon, and I have a question. How do you find the time to write when you have a full-time job?
Well, I think the young man's name is Davin, but I definitely heard the question. Question is, how do I find the time to write when I have a full-time job? Well, when you love to do something, you make time to do it. It's just like reading a book. Many times you hear, oh, I just don't have any time. And, that's a common refrain you hear from teachers. Oh, I'm so busy, I just don't have time to read books. Well, it's one of those things. If you love doing it, you always find time to do it. And, like I said, when I answered another question, I've been doing it for a very, very long time. And so I used to be able to come home every night after school and write. But, I'm getting to be an old dog. You probably can't tell. And so it's been more challenging. So I've become kind of a weekend warrior, a weekend writer, and I write all weekend long. And I'm very lucky that I have a wife who lets me start at 7 o'clock on Saturday morning and write till 6 o'clock on Sunday evening, with breaks in between to do some fun stuff. But I don't know what I'd do with myself if I wasn't writing all the time. It's just what I love to do. And for those of you who some of you love to play video games, some of you love to play chess, hopefully many of you like to read. If you just think about it, if you love to do something, you'll find time to do it. And, with writing, just like any of the arts, visual arts, when you draw or you create something out of clay, or performing arts, many of you perform on a stage. If you think about writing as a literary art, all these things give you the means to express how you feel about stuff. And that's what I use writing for. I mean, it's therapeutic. I just love to do it. Plus, I have the habit. Plus, it gives me a way to kind of tell the world how I feel about all kinds of stuff. So it's just what you value, and I value it a lot. And I hope you guys do too, because it's something that can be with you the rest of your life.
And I have a question. How long does the editing and revising process take on average?
Well, again, challenging to hear the name, but I think the question was, on average, how long does it take to edit a book? I've written 5 novels and 4 picture books, and each one requires a different amount of time. Sometimes I've been able to be very careful when I write a book, and the copy is very clean when I get to the end of it and doesn't require that much editing. I spent on China Live, I spent probably over a year editing that book, and with the help of other people, then going back and forth to take advantage of their suggestions. That was a very complex book. It went forward in time, it went back in time, it was told from the point of view of 3 different characters. And so that was very complicated. Each time I write another book, I tell my wife, this is going to be really simple. I'm just going to write this in a straight line. A series of events are going to happen one right after the other. And in the new book, Imposter, that's pretty true. But there was a lot of complexities also. The story takes place in a 5-day period, but the intensity with which things happened during the course of those 5 days required a lot of time to make sure that I was able to create in a reader's mind exactly when it was happening and where it was happening. So the answer to your question is, I don't know. It just depends on the book. It depends on the complexity. But what I do know is writing is revision. I mean, I love the whole process of revision. It gives me a chance to play with words and sentences, and I just about have to pull myself away from a book. It's kind of like your baby. It's like one of your children, and say, it's time to stop writing. I can't do this any better. And then once the book is published, it's just, you can't do anything else about it. So I never look at the book. After the book is out, it's like, I can't play with it anymore. I can't make any additions or subtractions. That's it. By that time, I'm already writing the next book. So I hope that answers that for you. There's just no way to predict. But it's an ongoing process that's extremely fun and very, very challenging. So 1 copy, 2 copies, 5 copies. I've revised a book as many as 15 or 20 times. So it's one of the best parts of writing. I love to revise, and hopefully after your first revision, you won't be content. And I know a lot of times teachers have kids read other kids' work and share it in a group, and all those things are absolutely fantastic, because with each one of those steps, the book becomes better.
Hi, my name is Emily, and I have a question. How much are you planning to sell your book for?
Hi, Emily. Great question. You have to know that there's many different things that are taken into consideration in coming up with the cost of a book. One of my most important things is that it's as accessible to people as possible. I want it to be a fair price. The price is a lot of times based on production costs, how many pages are in a book, and when you anticipate other people reselling the book, like a bookstore, you have to give them a big discount because they have to make a profit on the thing, and then I make a little bit of money on the thing as well. But it's there's many factors. But like I said, what's most important to me is that anybody who wants to buy the book can afford to buy the book. At the beginning, when the book is first launched, I'll have a big drawing and give away as many as 20 copies. I know for sure that one of the copies of the book is going into your classroom to thank you guys for all your wonderful questions. It's a little high for grade 3, but maybe Miss LaFay can break it down a little bit and give you summarize the stuff in the book, and maybe donate it to the school library. So good question. There's an awful lot of stuff that goes in to a lot of considerations before a price is established. So I think about $9.95 will be for the paperback, and probably $3.99 for the Kindle edition.
My name is Leo, and I have a question. How long did it take to make your book?
Well, the question was, how long did it take me to make the book? Imposter took me 5 months. The actual writing of it. I think I started at the beginning of the school year, and then the first draft it took me 5 months to do that. The research into the book probably took me at least as many months before I even started writing the book, because I have a library's worth of books, bloggers I look into, newspaper articles, all that kind of stuff. So I have a lot of things going before I start writing the book. But after 5 months, that's the time I gave it to my wife. She's a librarian, and she's a really good editor, and I tell her to show me no mercy, and she doesn't. She's really nasty. I mean, she made big red marks, for all over the book, and every once in a while, just to make sure she doesn't kill my self-esteem, she'll draw me a little happy face, like, oh, this was good. And out of a 300-page book, she might draw me 2 or 3 little happy faces, just to make sure that my feelings aren't too badly hurt. But I have a very thick skin, and anybody I ask to read my book, I tell them, I said, make it bleed. Put all that red ink all over it, because, my name is on the front of the book, and theirs is not on the front of the book. And even though, it's kind of hard to look at, you have to have a tough skin, because, books are writing, that's your baby. But, you have to have a tough skin. And you have to be ready to listen to other people, because that's really, really important, because every time I do that, no matter who's read my book, the book always becomes better. And their name doesn't go in the front of the book. Mine does. They don't get any of the glory. They get, they get a cookie or 2 and a pat on the back, but I get all the fame and the glory and all that kind of stuff. So get as many people to read it as possible.
My name is Yuri, and I have a question. How long have you been an author?
Hi, Yuri. Another great question. I think I touched on this question earlier about how long have I been a writer. I can't ever remember a time when I wasn't writing. I've been very, very lucky. I started putting words to paper and started typing onto a screen. Well, I can't even remember when I wasn't doing that. I've been very lucky along the way. I've had teachers that said I had some degree of skill, and that inspired me. So that helped keep me going. But it's a habit I just can't break, and I hope that some of you will find some real excitement in writing to express how you feel. You're going to need to be writing in school, of course, and many of you will take the skills necessary to become a good writer into the job that you do. But writing to see the world, to create stuff that wasn't there, to inspire, to instruct people beyond those things is I've always felt blessed to have found that at such a young age and to be able to continue to do that.
Hi, my name is Remy and I have a question. What is it like to be an author?
Hi, Rennie. Great question. Another great question. What is it like to be an author? Oh, Rennie, it's the best. I'm telling you, it's hard. It's really, really hard work because, you know, it's kind of solitary. You have to do it by yourself. But once you come up with an idea, or you know, sometimes it's like flames just darting out of my fingertips, and I can't wait to put them on the keyboard to bring stuff to life, to bring a character to life, to use situations and people, and you know, being an author is a lot of times people say, where do you get your ideas from? Well, everything you've ever thought, everything you've ever felt is kind of your resume, and so it's like you're using everything in your mind that you can possibly think of or have experienced. You can just put down in an idea, and just the idea of having someone read that, or maybe be entertained, or maybe be informed by that is a great thing to think about. So I hope some of you guys catch that feeling, even at a very young age. I've been a librarian for 20 or 21 years, and every time I work with kids, there's always one or two or three kids that kind of catch the flame really, really early, and sometimes it doesn't start till high school or till college, but there's just nothing better than, you know, looking at a blank screen or a blank piece of paper where there was nothing there before, and all of a sudden it's just filled with ideas that kind of come from deep inside your soul. And also from deep inside your reading. I don't know if I've mentioned that yet, but one of the most important things you can do if you're serious about writing is writers are readers. I mean, I probably read 100 books a year. There's never a time that I don't have a book in my hand, and you just can't be a writer unless you're a reader. It's just one thing goes with the other. A really important thing to do.
My name is Samantha and I have a question. How did you get the idea for your book?
Hi, Samantha. Where did I get the idea for the book? Well, I touched on that a little bit when I was responding to one of the other questions. I go in a little bit greater detail. But, you know, wherever I'm teaching, I'm always talking to kids about what's going on in their life. You know, you can't help it. You talk about books all the time, and the discussion almost always leads to, well, how you doing here? And here, for this last book, was in Saudi Arabia. You know, some kids... very flexible. You know, some kids really, really love it. It takes a little bit longer for other kids. You know, I mean, when you're going to school, an international school, it's you're what's called a third culture kid. The first culture is when you came from. The second culture is the country where you're living, and the third culture is learning to appreciate and to get along with all the other kids in the place you're doing. So, I mean, that can be a pretty huge challenge. So. Saudi Arabia was a fascinating place. You know, I mean, you'll probably, those kids will never run into that kind of culture or being involved in that kind of situation again in their life. Whether or not they learn to like it or they don't learn to like it, they'll have memories and things to tell people for the rest of their lives. And I just find that altogether fascinating to kind of tell my story through their eyes, or their story through my eyes. Well, anyways, it's through somebody's eyes, and it's a great place, and that's what really inspired me to write Saudi Imposter.
Hi, my name is Carol, and
question. How many drafts did you write in your book?
Hi, Cairo. Question was, how many drafts? Well, I think I said that I finished the first draft after 5 months, and then I gave the book to my first editor, which was my wife, and she takes a number of weeks to finish it. Then the next draft is taking advantage of all her suggestions. Then I send the book out to 5 or 6 other editors, and after each one of their set of suggestions comes the next draft. A lot of times I can combine a lot of things, but when you go through a whole book, and every time I look for mistakes I had made, then I take advantage of their suggestions. So that's probably 5 or 6 more drafts. And then I let it cool for a while, because by that time I'm like, oh, God, I just can't look at this book another time. I set it down, I start in on another book, or I catch up on a lot of reading. I pick the book up again, and I make sure that everything they've suggested that was important or that I think will make a significant change, I take advantage of. And then when I'm really content that that's all good, then I go looking for a professional copy editor, people who work for the major publishers or who freelance working, publishing or helping people bring their book to life. And then after that's done, I go through and look at all their suggestions, and then if I think I need to, I send it to a professional proof, someone who does who's a proofing editor, who just looks after the book's already out for every single little minute detail of something that might have gone wrong. Because when you put the book out there to the whole world, it's got to be just as perfect as it can be. And to tell you the truth, almost in every book I read, I find some teeny tiny mistake. I mean, there's no way you can, if you think about 4, 5, 6, 7, 800 page book, that's a lot of words. That comes up to fit between 50 and 100,000 words. And my book, it so happens, is 74,000 words. So that's a lot of stuff to get right in addition to the content of the story. You're looking at punctuation and grammar and all the rest of it. So it's a fairly complex go-around. Well, Miss LeFay, I think that just wraps it up from this beautiful Travelodge hotel room on the 7th floor in downtown London. I'm going to go out and take a look and see what there is to see outside now. I hope I wasn't too long-winded. I'm going to compress this file, and I think the easiest way to get it to you is I'm going to put it up privately on YouTube and give you the address so only your class can see it. I have to apologize. I might have been a little long-winded, so it's a little longer than I anticipated, but I hope if you have any follow-up questions, I'd be glad to listen to them. And the only other thing I need is the best address to send it to the class, to send it to your class in 3A. And finally, again, thanks for your interest and thanks for such great questions. Good luck in all your writing, and it was a pleasure. Bye-bye.